She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Carla. I am happy to have you and welcome. So as you can see, I am currently sketching the design of the wrap pants that we're gonna do today. But while I'm doing that, let me just tell you guys a quick backstory. So I originally only planned on making the crop top today, the one I saw on Charlie. If you haven't seen the video yet, I'll link it down below and also insert a card here somewhere. Anyway, while I was going through my fabrics, I basically realized I may have enough to create a pair of pants to match it with. I know I'm being extra again, but I'm making this for my friend Liz, and I'm already shooting her in the top anyway, so might as well make a cute pair of pants to go with it. Just kidding, this is just a backup just in case she ends up not liking the top. But the question is if I can finish this today. I guess now I'm gonna have to. So for this project, I'm actually gonna do something I've never done before. I have this pair of pants that I really like, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and use this to make my pattern for my wrap pants. So I really like the fit of these pants, especially the rise and where the waist sits. So I'm gonna go ahead and reference that. So to make this today, I'm gonna need 3 measurements. We'll need center front to side, our center back to side, and our length from our true waist to the floor. Alright, so to start, I am drawing my grain line, and I am placing that about 19 inches from the edge of my glue dot paper. Oh, and by the way, these pants are not going to have any type of inseam, but I'm going to go ahead and label that just for drafting purposes, especially because this is not the typical way of how I draft pants, but it'll all make sense later, I promise. I then go ahead and grab the pair of pants that I want to use as my reference and fold it in half like so, making sure that I am exposing the entire rise of the back or the crotch. That way I am tracing it from where the crotch and the inseam meet up to the waist. I then repeat the same exact process to the front pant. Again, make sure that you're lining up your inseam, trace the front rise up to the waist, like so. And since I traced the pants inside out, which means the seam allowance is already included on there, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I mark that so I don't forget that later. Alright, so remember my measurement from my center front to my side is 6.5 inches, but I'm gonna go ahead and add an inch. So it'll now be 7.5 from the center front. So the reason why I'm extending it by an inch is because I just want a little bit of coverage there. If you end up making this pants, you can definitely add more as you please or reduce it, because you have to remember that the side is going to become this perpetual slit that starts from the waistband down to the floor. Alright, now for the back pant. First of all, I'm gonna apologize because at this point I'm not realizing that I'm actually out of frame, but I'm basically gonna be repeating what I did to the front, except it will just be 3 inches more, and then I am adding another inch for our dart. So from our original measurement of 6 inches from center back to side, it will now then be 10 inches total. Now for my dart, I will be placing mine 3 inches away from the center back seam, making it 1 inch wide and 4 inches deep. So to create my sideline, I go ahead and place my ruler like so, squaring it out from the waist and then drawing a line down to the hem. And then I just repeat the same exact process to the back pant. Now for my hem, I go ahead and line up my measuring tape to the center front line as close as I possibly can and measure down 38 inches, which is my friend's measurement from her true waist down to the floor. I then proceed by drawing a straight line perpendicular to my non-existent inseam / green line, and then adding an inch of seam allowance. And once I'm done, I then go ahead and add my 3/8 seam allowance all around except for my crotch area. And of course, I'm going to go ahead and label my pattern before I proceed to cutting it. I then lay 2 layers of fabric and placing my pattern on top of it, making sure that my grain line / non-existent inseam is parallel to the selvage, and then I go ahead and cut. And once I'm done, I then put together both fabrics right sides together and pin them along the rice, and now I am ready to sew. I then go ahead and sew both of my darts. And once I'm done, I pretty much just finish all of my raw edges with a double rolled hem except for the front and back waists. So for my waistband, I'm just gonna cut a strip of fabric that measures 2 inches in height because I'll be folding it in half, and then referencing it back to my front pant, making sure I'm only adding ½ inch of seam allowance on both sides. I then reinforce my front waistband by adding fusing. For this, you're gonna want to make sure that the part with the glue sticks to the wrong side of the fabric. And because I want my waistband to be exactly the same height as my front, I'm going to go ahead and use that as my reference when cutting my strips of fabric. So this one measures 62 inches wide, so I'm going to go ahead and use the entire width of it and cut 2 pieces. So that should leave me with about 124 inches wide waistband for the back, because I want the back to have the 2 waistband tails to wrap around the waist. And then I just marry the 2 with right sides together, and then that becomes my center back waistband seam. And speaking of center back seam, I'm going to go ahead and grab my back pant and then match up my center back waist seam with my center back pant seam, making sure right sides are together, and then just sew along the waist. I then proceed by folding the remaining tail of the waistband in half, right sides together, and just sewing it close down to the edge, cutting the excess fabric, and then flipping it inside out. And to do that, I'm using this tool, which I don't even really know what it's called, but it works like a loop turner. I mean, it looks like a tweezer, but it does the job, so. And then I go ahead and repeat the process to the other strap, and then press away. So if you've seen my other videos, I'm sure you've figured out already that I'm a little bit of a perfectionist and I'm big on cleanliness. So I'm gonna finish this by sandwiching my pant in between my waistband just to hide all that seam allowance. It is obviously more work, but I don't know, it makes me sleep better at night knowing that I'm making my pieces the best way possible that I know how. Anyway, so what I'm doing here is basically just like folding my seam allowance in, making sure that the fold is about a hair past the sew line, because I will be edge stitching this from the front, and just leaving enough fabric there for me to catch it as I sew it from the front. As you can see here, starting the stitches is always such a struggle. Consider that this is already fast forwarded 200%, so imagine how slow I'm actually going. I am stitching about a 1/16 of an inch above my waist seam, and as you can see, all my pin heads are in the bottom, so I'm just like slowly removing them as I go. You can kind of feel it, and I'm constantly checking, making sure that I am catching the fabric from underneath. And yeah, there's not really any secret, you just have to take it slow, and yeah, you should be good. But the result's always so worth it because it's just so clean. Now for the front part, I'm basically repeating what I did on the back. The only difference is that the waistband would only be half an inch wider on the sides. I then go ahead and fold it in half, right sides together, and then stitch along that half-inch seam allowance, making sure I don't catch the pant when I do that, and then flip it over right side out, and then again do the same thing that I did to the back pant. I don't know if you guys can hear the birds chirping, by the way. They're right outside my window. I was gonna wait till they leave, but you know what? It's cute, so I'm gonna just like let them do their thing. I know, cute, right? Anyway, yes, so that's how the front pant should look after I do the edge stitching. And now it is time to put the hook and eyes. So as you can see, I am hand sewing my eye about a 1/16 of an inch away from the edge of my front pant waistband, and then mirroring that on the other side. As for the back, I will be placing my hooks 6 inches from the center back, making sure that I place it on the inside of my pant, hand sewing it in place. And then I just go ahead and repeat the same exact process on the other side. And then I go ahead and sew my label because I'm giving this to Liz as a gift, as a thank you for modeling for me. But yeah, do keep watching because you're gonna want to see the different and exciting ways on how to wear these pants. But for now, this is how they should look once you're done making them.
She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. There must be something about her features. You'll find her beauty goes much deeper once you get to meet her.